My name is Kelebogile Moloko. I'm the founding director and CEO of Prowess Investment Managers. I am also the Chief Investment Officer. Prowess Investment Managers was birthed through life experiences as a young girl growing up in rural South Africa, where there was very limited infrastructure. I was surrounded by poverty. There were limited opportunities, and I had access to low quality education. I purposed that my life pursuit would be to make a difference, not only in my life as Kelebogile, but in the lives of many others that I would encounter. My family life was structured around my grandmother, who was a domestic worker, and she sometimes brought magazines back from work. And one day I encountered the picture of Table Mountain, and my spirit leapt, and I knew that my journey would take me to Cape Town, where I would start my studies in commerce. Being in the industry for about 8 to 10 years, managing billions of money, I realized that the social and economic narrative for many people wasn't changing. Or if it was changing, it wasn't changing fast enough. So I also started questioning myself. We have so much money in South Africa in the investment management industry. We have so much capital in banks, but yet we have so many people that still live in poverty. So that is what inspired me to start Prowess. You are partnering with a credible investment manager that offers the right financial services for what you're looking at. We have the expertise to manage capital. We have investment strategies. We have a track record in the market. We meet all of the industry requirements from a regulatory perspective, so we are trusted. Our governance is very robust. We are a very ethical company, but also we're very innovative, and we are in touch with what our clients actually require. So as an investment management company, our purpose and our reason for existence and what keeps us up at night is to use the capital that our clients have entrusted to us to not only provide financial returns, but to pursue investment strategies that will impact the lives of many South Africans.
Welcome to this webinar. It's my singular honor to bring you on board. My name is Ndoga. We're coming live from the mother city, Cape Town, and we are going to be engaging in a conversation with Prowess Investment Managers, a journey of over 13 years. For a company to get to where Prowess is, it takes firstly really trial and error to get a point where they become resilient, and that staying power will help them with the superior performance. And when that superior performance is finished, then they really get into being a trusted brand. And that's where Prowess really is today. We want to unpack that journey in terms of where we find ourselves. And joining me in that conversation is Kelebogile Moloko, who is the founder and CIO of Prowess, as well as Mabatho Seeiso, who is really been in the industry for over 20 years and journeying with us as an independent trustee that can help unpack part of this journey. Welcome, ladies. Kelebogile, how does it feel to be where you are today?
Thank you very much, and it feels really amazing. It's been an exciting journey, a journey of learning, a very challenging journey as well. But I'm very proud of what we have become as Prowess. We currently just over 11 billion in assets under management, going on to 13, and our target is 20 in a very short period of time. We have about 14 full-time staff members, and we support about 21 people through the Prowess brand. We've nurtured talent through the 13 years. In our graduate training program, we currently have about 19 young people that have been impacted through Prowess. But I think most importantly is that we have clients that have entrusted us with their money to manage it according to specified objectives. And we have delivered irrespective of challenges that we have faced, and we are here. So it's a really exciting moment for us.
Wow. Your tagline, tomorrow is now. What does that mean for Prowess?
It means a lot of things, but I think, tomorrow is now. It's kind of like a call to action. Mm-hmm. It's, act now for the future that you want to see. Mm-hmm. The decisions that you make today should actually already be aligning you with your objectives for the future. So for us as Prowess, especially given where South Africa is at in terms of the economic and social imbalances and the need to really change the economic story for South Africa and to have many people included in the economy, is that we have a decision as Prowess together with our clients to make decisions in terms of the products that we manage or how we deploy capital that's entrusted to us, that we can actually influence where we want to see South Africa. So the dreams that we have as South Africans, we have the power to actually nurture them and influence them.
Wow. So tomorrow is definitely now. Mabatho, when you listen to this account, you've been in the industry for 25 years. What would you advise a company like Prowess in terms of where they are and where they could go? How would you speak to a company like Prowess today?
Yeah, but first of all, let me just start by congratulating Kelebogile before I come to your question, Dr. Sam. I've known Kelebogile for a long time. I think we started in the industry, or we studied together in 2001. It's been amazing to see your journey, that you've now built a business that is 13 years old.
Yes.
I know how difficult it is, and to be here requires resilience. And I say it from as an asset allocator, because I know that supporting small businesses like Kelebogile has been a challenge. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about how that story has unfolded. Because as asset allocators, we're often very concerned about risk.
Yes.
We sometimes lack the courage to stand out and do things differently. So it's so much easier to allocate to big asset managers, because when things go wrong, no one is going to point fingers at you. It's very difficult for people to stand out and have the courage to do things differently. So I understand how difficult the journey is, and I'm hoping that it's beginning to improve. Perhaps in terms of advising you, my first starting point as a fiduciary on a fund is, what is my responsibility? And therefore, how do you come in and how can you make sure that you keep being relevant? Yes. And I always say to people, we have a big responsibility as fiduciaries on funds to safeguard the monies of our members, because actually for the average member of a fund, or the average South African actually, your pension fund savings are the biggest pot of savings that most people would ever have. It's a big responsibility. Yeah. So the starting point for me is just the basic. The starting point is, I want a manager that will deliver and help me achieve my objectives. And my objectives is to make sure that my members can retire with a meaningful retirement point. And I'll unpack that a little bit more, because it goes to your story around inclusivity.
Yes.
And so in doing that, I want a manager that I can trust. I want a manager that I know that the mechanism or the machine that delivers returns is solid. So your investment process, your philosophy, etc., that is important. I want a manager that I know tomorrow is going to still be here. Because let's face it, part of our challenges is dealing with this small asset managers sometimes. It has not necessarily been about the expertise. That's where the challenge has been. Yeah. It's been about the sustainability of the business. Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I think as a small manager, in order to build trust, because people do business with people that they trust.
Yes.
It's important to keep building the organization, ensuring that from a risk management point of view, the things that matter to us as decision makers and asset allocators, you're taken care of.
Yeah.
And we begin to see this business continue to stabilize, including taking care of your team,
Yes.
etc.
Yeah.
You know, even in terms of incentives, because sometimes that's quite a challenge. So
Yeah.
those basics are core and important, and I would say keep focusing on them.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt that you will. Then the second thing is, I'm excited to see, you know, a woman-owned business that is still here, because I know it's extra hard, not just as a small manager, but as a woman-owned business, for you to be surviving. But I definitely believe that the diversity that organization like Prowess bring to the table is important and powerful. I think it enhances and enriches decision making. I'm hoping it enhances the sort of products that are relevant
Yes.
to the economy, because
Yeah.
that's what is also important to us. Now, for the longest time, members, we assumed that when members said they wanted a meaningful retirement, it was just about money.
Yeah.
But they've clarified that for us.
Yeah.
It's not just about money. It's about the environment that I'm retiring in.
Yes.
Because if I'm retiring in an environment where there are no jobs,
Yeah.
it means with my little pot of money, I now have to, you know what they say about black tax, right? Share my money with everybody else. I'm not going to be retiring for many of us in Johannesburg or, you know, the main cities. I'm going to my rural areas when I retire.
Exactly.
And so I have to have services there as well.
Yeah.
I have clients that live in rural areas. Just from a basic point of view, when they need to, for example, in my claim funds,
Yes.
when they need to come and get their benefits, for example, you know, it costs them around about 1,000 just to service or gather together documents, etc., simply because services are not there.
Yeah.
So I think we are removed as people who live in the cities on what the average person is going through in terms of service delivery and access to services.
Yeah.
So my assumption is, with somebody who perhaps comes from some of those communities, you would bring that lens in how you develop products. So developing products that are meaningful, that will impact the lives of the average person, will then make you relevant. And increasingly, as we've seen in terms of how asset allocators are coming together in the Asset Owners Forum, etc., we are beginning to really think about how we can increase resources or allocate assets into impact.
Yes.
It's going to be very, very important. And it goes to what, you know, when we talk about ESG and ESG, in the South African context, everybody said the social aspect is important. So that's how you remain relevant. The last thing, as a woman and as a decision maker, and my pet peeve in the industry, is I want to deal with you as asset managers, our partners, in helping me achieve my objectives. I want to deal with somebody I trust. I want to deal with somebody who I believe has the right values and will integrate TCF, treating customers fairly, including myself, in how you do things. And I think as a woman decision maker, we have an innate ability to stand in other people's shoes, to think about fairness. Some of my challenges is how people sell their products, it's how they price, etc. But what I'm looking for from a woman-owned business, and I have no doubt because I understand and know your values, is that TCF will be an integral part of how you do things, and that I can build, you can build a brand of trust with me.
That's great. Now, you are really helping kind of define for us what the market is looking for. So given that, Kelebogile, this is a very vast industry. It's also very cutthroat in nature, as you've already heard, and you would know about that. What is the Prowess value proposition?
It's very important maybe to go back to the drawing board. Why did I actually decide to leave a very cushy job with an established, you know, institution to actually start Prowess? I think it also goes to what Mabatho is saying. You know, the passion and the vision has always been building a credible investment manager that clients can trust. Building a very robust, repeatable, trusted investment process where we can, consistently offer returns to our clients, because when our clients buy us, because as Mabatho said, it's very important. We have people that need to retire comfortably. They have objectives that they need to meet in terms of financial returns, and we need to provide that in a sound way. So that was very important, and I believe that as Prowess, we've actually been able to achieve that for the last 13 years. I will talk about diversity and the team later on, but the third part, which also points to where we're going, I was actually moved by the imbalances that we have in terms of socio-economic the landscape in South Africa. So I managed, portfolios where we looked at infrastructure investing or investing in development sectors and so forth. And I could actually see how powerful deploying capital in projects that can touch the lives of people, where you can measure it, other jobs that are created, people are accessing basic services and so forth. And for me, it made sense. It's something that really resonated with my values and what I stand for, to say, actually, I want Prowess to be one of those places in the industry where we can actually innovate in terms of product that speak to the current needs. Like Mabatho was saying about even basic services in rural areas, or it could be, township development. We know that a lot of our people live in townships. And I think in the last 25 years of democracy, there has been some progress, but it's not meaningful in terms of really changing the lives of people that live in townships, or even changing the trajectory, right? Or even accessing healthcare and education and so forth. So when I started, that was the focus. Those are the products, but we had to go first to look at building a sustainable business that we can actually have a market share, we can be trusted. I think our first client gave us 50 million when I started in January of 2009. And now we have, over 50 clients. So you have to build that brand. Right. So business sustainability is important, as Mabatho says, because it gives clients the comfort that the capital is safe, you're going to be around, you're not a fly-by-night, that you have a long-term thinking in your strategy, right? So we can take that and say, by being here 13 years, we're not going anywhere. That's good. We are here to stay. So if I look at all of that, we've achieved a lot. We've got products in the fixed income markets, but most of them are in the traditional markets. So I have to ask myself, is that how are we living our vision currently? And my point would be, we haven't yet started living it out, because then now we need to innovate with capital allocators to say, okay, fine, can we actually offer an SME fund that can change the landscape, because we understand what SMEs also have to go through from townships, or we've been an SME. I think our track record speaks to that in terms of the challenges that we faced. We can bring that experience of building Prowess as a business to where it is now into our investment strategy and investment offering in a way that is more powerful, because we've lived it. It's not just from being an analyst, but it's actually having walked the journey of not having anything and one computer to now having a business that we currently have, right? I think infrastructure is also very relevant and important. And I know there's a lot of conversation around, the infrastructure fund from the presidency, and, money being channeled through the private sector being involved. We've seen some progress, but it's not meaningful. But I think it becomes relevant because from a South African context, there are still major areas that are without the basic infrastructure actually in place. So we are actually looking at bringing an infrastructure fund to the market. Another area is agriculture. There's a lot happening, but in the agricultural sector. But we also know that agriculture is really an interesting industry in the sense that you can actually create a lot of jobs, right? But you also have to embed technology in terms of how the world has shifted. There's another areas that we believe we can actually touch the lives of South Africans through our products. And then finally, manufacturing. I think if you look at Africa as a whole, we actually have a vast array of raw material, right?
Yes.
We've got commodities and so forth, but we actually then extract and then export, and most of the manufacturing happens outside of Africa. And beneficiation happens outside of South Africa or Africa, and then the products are brought back into Africa to then be, distributed and sold and so forth. So another angle for us is to say, okay, fine, what role can an asset manager like ourselves actually play in the manufacturing side in terms of product, but also working with people on the ground? So I think that's the posture that we are taking that will address the needs that Mabatho is actually speaking about.
Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, Mabatho, there are many people sitting here watching us from wherever who are saying, well, you speak so well as an expert. They may not be at the level of articulation and understanding of what the investments are all about. How does an ordinary South African who kind of wants to get into this investment industry, where are the easy steps or starting points for them? Where would they be able to come in?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It depends on what point, what do you mean by coming in? Do they want to work in the industry, or do they invest in the industry? So you see, if you're a member, there are two things. If you're a member of a pension fund, there's a big chunk of your assets that are likely organized enough. There's a board that's been appointed that looks out for the investment for you. However, there are products that individuals can invest in. And hopefully, Prowess is looking at that as well, the retail arm. Right. There are retail products that Prowess, that organizations like Prowess and individuals can invest in. There are also passive strategies that people can invest in. Now, I'm not sure how people get the information. And maybe you can tell us how you inform people, because it's important. Savings, we need to create a savings culture, not a spending culture. I think we have a spending culture. We need to create a savings culture. And people must understand that even if you have, I don't know, 300, you can save 300. It's meaningful. So I guess that your question is, where do they do it? And I think that's a good question.
I can answer that. I think it's a very important question, because I mean, for investment managers like ourselves, it's very easy for us to speak to the institutional clients who are really sophisticated investors. They might understand the market dynamics in terms of which product to buy and so forth. And as Mabatho said, most of that decision making is structured either through a retirement fund, a pension fund that you can contribute to, or actually going to a service provider and buying a retirement product, right? But we also need to take into account that we have unemployment rate, I think, is over 30% or something like that.
Youth unemployment is over 60%.
Youth unemployment is over 60%. And if you look at, the whole population, there's a very small number of people that are employed, formally employed, or that even can save through retirement funds, right? And as Mabatho says, that then it also implies that the savings culture or savings rate is very low. Accessibility by the rest of the people that are not formally employed that save through pension funds is also limited. So I think as the industry, there is an opportunity to then say, okay, fine, we can offer products to the retail sector. So a lot of our competitors, including Prowess, we've got a retail offering. So we launched our retail offering in 2018. So 5 products, and it was intentional in a sense that we wanted to start catering to this sector of the market in terms of access to investment products, but also, education is very important, because a lot of people, I found when I got into the industry, and even now, it's like, finance and the investment world is like a black hole for a lot of people, A lot of people work, we deal with money every single day, we make money decisions every single day, but the majority of the population is not empowered in terms of how to make decisions, how to invest, how to save.
Right.
And so one of our pillars as Prowess, especially going forward in the journey, is really being a partner that we can actually share information, through webinars, our YouTube channel, which is coming. So look out for us on social media as well, where we want to get to the basics of, as a individual that's working, how do you start saving, or how do you start actually contributing towards your retirement? And eventually maybe you can get sophisticated and manage your entire investment strategy, looking at various products that exist in the market.
Time is flying past, which is exciting because we have a lot to talk about here. But just taking one question from the audience for you, Kelebogile, what has been some of the lessons you couldn't have learned any other way? If you were just to say that in a minute, what would that be?
I think personally, I'll talk from a personal perspective, and I hope that this helps other people as well, is that I've learned to understand who Kelebogile is. This is what the journey has taught me, in a way that I've accepted the strengths that I have, and also areas of weakness or development. I've also learned that you can't achieve everything on your own. You need a community, you need people around you. So I look at the Prowess team, the Prowess board members, colleagues in the industry, clients, and so many people that I've actually learned from. But it's very important to go through that journey so you can actually really learn about who you are and where you're going, and what your vision is, and the people, the crowd, the community that actually goes with you. I think the second thing is that it's a lesson, but it's also a life pursuit, that it is difficult to do business in South Africa.
I think it's anywhere in the world.
But more specifically, I don't know, because I've done it from a South African perspective. Right. When I left when I started Prowess, I thought I knew a lot, having been an investment analyst, a portfolio manager, being exposed to so much, to banks, access to finance or whatever, to actually start a business. And we struggle so much, and we know so much, and we've got so many connections. So I have to ask myself, what is it like for people that haven't had or don't have what I had when I started? And this is the majority of small businesses and so forth. Wow. So I've learned that, and I realized that we still have a lot to do, from a South African context, in terms of, this comes from public, private sector and corporates and so forth, to have an enabling environment where business can be done in a way that it's in an inclusive way for South Africans, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I would like to bring somebody else to be part of this conversation, because we can talk about this from an investor perspective. We can talk about this conversation from a founder, entrepreneurial perspective. I think we need to really capture something from somebody who has walked the walk, one of the longest serving members of Prowess, who has been in it, just to ask her a few questions of what has this really translated to for herself. Just welcome Cheryl Wyngaard being here with us. Now, you have been in this journey. You're the longest serving member of the Prowess staff. Now, we have a beautiful story here from Kelebogile about how she started. What is it like working with her?
Well, that's an interesting question, Dr. Sam. I think that, it was really a unique opportunity to be able to work with someone who not only embodies strength, but courage, as one of probably the industry's most resilient female leaders. And I think that we tend to overlook the fact that she started the business in the height of the credit crunch, which is probably the worst time to start a fixed income business. I think one of the common misconception in our world really is that women in leadership only started in the 20th century. However, that is actually not correct. If you look back in the years, you'll see that people such as Indira Gandhi, Condoleezza Rice, these are all females that were in leadership positions for a while. Cleopatra, for example. So really, women have been in leadership positions for centuries, if not millennia. And the fact is, our time for diversity is now, and we're starting with people such as Kelebogile, Moloko.
So you didn't start where you are now, in the company. Where did you start, and where are you now?
So I started in humble beginnings in a asset management company, very green out of university, and then started off into the financial industry as well, and had the unique opportunity to work with Kelebogile in two spheres. Once in the very first company that I worked at, and then I think fate allowed us to cross paths again. And we were fortunate enough to cross paths at Prowess. And that has been probably the best experience that I can honestly say in my life I've had, because it's helped me grow as an individual, but as a female, and also into a leadership position that I don't think I would ever have seen myself in. So I think for me, it's a testimony that anybody from all walks of life, from any humble beginnings, can find themselves in a position through hard work, dedication, and through amazing role models such as Kelebogile and the members of our board.
Oh, wow. Well, you've been in it for the long run. What is it like in terms of working at Prowess? What are some of the maybe values that you think are really worth, staying as long as you have for?
I think if I had to sum up what our values are in 5 key words, I would say resilience is one, and that is just embodied through each and every single person within our company. Passion, we have a passion for what we do and a great amount of pride in what we do as well. The third one would definitely be stewardship. We take the fact that we steward people's assets very seriously. The fourth one would be perseverance as well. And then the fifth one is family. As a team, we work as a family. And yes, we fight as a family sometimes, but we succeed as a family, and together we grow as a family. And that for us has really helped us as a team and as a company.
Oh, wow. Now, Kelebogile, obviously you haven't done this by yourself. The limelight is on you. But hearing just this perspective from Cheryl, when somebody joins Prowess, what's in it from them, as a staff member?
Yeah, I think it's I feel touched here with what Cheryl has actually said. But Prowess was built. I know that usually people say Kelebogile, they put me in the spotlight. I believe that it's every person from the various board members we've had, current staff, and we've also had staff that have actually left. They've contributed to where we are. We've got service providers that actually it's as if they own shares in Prowess, the way that they align with Prowess. And I think what's important here is that we value people that have the same passion and that actually align with the vision of Prowess. So we have a lot of people on our team, staff members, people that we work with, that really want to see a different South Africa. And also, I think also we've created an environment where people can say, okay, fine, I've got technical expertise, but I can use that in achieving that.
Right.
So we align the two. So the blended approach has really helped us. We really value people and empower people. So when people start, obviously we do interviews, assessments in terms of where people are, but we also realize that given our history, we come from different experiences. It's very important to nurture talent, to support people to grow. And then I think ultimately it's we all want to be successful. So when I started, we were 50 million. When Cheryl joined, I think we were 700 million.
Correct.
We are now, 11 billion, going for 13 in a very short period of time. So it's also people seeing that growth path, the success that we've actually had, and celebrating that not only with our employees but with our clients as well. But I think most importantly is that empowering staff as well, not only through learning and support, but just through the shareholding structure that we have as well, where staff actually own 25% of the business as well. It's very important that our key performance indicators are linked to the value that we generate, where it also goes to staff. So every person can now say, okay, fine, I'm committing to this because I know that I'm gonna see value that comes out as the business also grows. But what's important is that we all want to belong.
Right.
We want to be accepted with all of our,
where we come,
the way that you come, because then I find that a lot of, including myself, there are areas where I'm very strong technically or even as a person, but I'm going to also have areas where I'm not that strong, and it disrupts instead of adding value. So we're trying to create this community where we can accept you as you are and grow with you, but at the same time, prioritizing, like Cheryl was saying, our stewardship role. So we can do all of that for people that join Prowess or for us as employees and so forth. But ultimately, how we are measured and tested by the stakeholders is putting client interest first, making sure that we manage conflicts of interest for clients, we steward their capital the right way, that we are trusted, as Mabatho was saying, that we are transparent. It's very important. And that we actually value the relationship that we have with clients. And that cuts across how we live day to day at Prowess as a community.
No, that's awesome to hear. Cheryl, just in 1 minute, I know it's a challenge to ask people to say a whole bunch in a minute. You are the face of Prowess. You're the one that goes out there. What are you taking to clients? What would you like clients to really buy into as far as Prowess is concerned?
I think it's important for clients to understand that they're not only our clients, they are our partners. And for us, relationships are the most important thing that we really value. So when we are approaching a client, we're approaching them as a valued partner. And we want to build relationships with them and also give value back to them in various ways, in various opportunities that we can. We are not only here to steward the assets, we are here to help grow their assets in a way and help grow their business in whichever way that we are able to assist them.
Thank you so much. It always is the case that when we are having a great time together, time is actually our worst enemy. I would have loved to ask more questions. In fact, I'm sure you have questions you wanted to ask. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, so I'd like to thank my astute panelist, Mabatho, who was here earlier, and Cheryl joining when you did, and Kelebogile for starting Prowess and still maintaining your seat. And I hope there are many more years to come for you to continue to have influence. And to thank you, the audience. Without you, we could not do this. And to thank our board, who have been supportive in terms of ensuring we are going the right way. Thank our clients. Again, apart from you, we really don't have Prowess to talk about. So thank you for your invaluable support and for trusting our brand. And as we launch into the next 13 years, we trust that you can help us exponentially grow and get to the heights that we need to. And just to thank everybody for being here, Prowess staff. You rock. And thank each one of you for being here today. Thank you.